same since I lost my Lewis Lane. I can see through everything, what you need, baby. Say your diamond ring if you need, baby. I can stop with being trained if you need, baby.
What's good, YouTube? This your girl Leah J back with another video. Thank y'all for coming back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, welcome. Now, before I get started, the quality of this video is going to be much different than what I usually use. Don't come for me if I didn't send for you, baby, okay? If y'all checked out my last video, you probably seen where I had like a full face with some pretty bold colors that I've never done before. And I definitely said that I was going to do a video showing you guys the look that I was going for. Now, I did put a little clip of the inspiration that I got from Instagram. I'll put it in this video so y'all can see. Now, as I was doing my little intro here, I've already gone ahead and primed my face. Well, I sprayed it first with the Milani Make It Last set and prime spray. I think it's like a 3-in-1. So I sprayed my face with that, and now I'm putting on the Milani Prime Perfection primer. Now, I like to get it all over my face, and then y'all will also see coming up that I like to put some on my eyelids too. Now, I usually like to, there's a method as to why I put it on my eyelids, and you'll see in a couple minutes. I don't know, I before, like back in the day when I used to do my makeup, I would always skip out on my eyelids when it came to priming my face. And I definitely realized later on, as I continued to do my makeup more and more, how important it was to prime my lids. So I went ahead and did it this time. Now I'm actually doing my brows. Now, when it comes to my brows, anytime I do a full face of makeup, or even when I don't do a full face, I always do my brows first. And I do my brows first because I feel like it makes it, for one, I'm very like, I don't know, I like to be very specific when it comes to doing my brows. And I know that if I go ahead and do my brows first, as I'm putting on like my concealer and everything on my lids or even around my brows, sometimes like I'll get a little bit of concealer in my brow powder. So then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just like touch up my brows. So it kind of just makes the rest of my face easier if I go ahead and knock my brows out first. Now, I definitely use a brow powder. I know some girls prefer a pencil, and then some girls even like to use a pomade, but I prefer to use the brow powder from European Wax Center. And the reason why I like to use the brow powder is because I feel like it gives I don't know, just like a more natural look to the brows. Anytime I've tried to use a pencil in the past, it just, I don't know, it just looks too sharp. Yeah, like I don't even know how to describe it, but it just looks too sharp and unnatural for me. So once I made the switch to the powder, it literally changed my life. So now I'm actually putting on my concealer, and every time I do my concealer, I like to put it in the middle, and then I like to put it on the top of my brows as well as the bottom. Now, when I'm putting on my powder, another good thing about using powder is like when I go to first put it on my brows, I don't have to worry about it being like perfect as far as the shape is concerned, because I know that with me going behind putting on the powder and putting on the concealer like I'm doing now, it basically just like, I don't know, it just makes the brows look like more crisp. You know what I'm saying? Like it just makes it look more like perfect and defined. And it kind of does the work for you a little bit. So it takes the stress off of having to put the powder in so perfect. See, I'm actually going back in and touching up my powder right now. So, and you'll see me do that a couple times throughout the video, which is totally fine. Because like I said, I'd much rather have my brows done and just go back and touch them up versus having to wait until after I've done all my eyeshadow to do my brows. So now I'm actually using the black Radiance, the loose setting powder, and I think this is the shade Banana, if I'm not mistaken. And then that makeup brush is actually a makeup brush that I got from Target. And it works beautifully. Like, I would have never thought to get my makeup brushes from Target, but I will not underestimate them anymore. So basically, I primed my lids with the Milani primer first, because now what I'm doing is taking the loose setting powder and I am dusting that over my lid as well. Now what this is going to do is, as you can already see, it kind of just gives like a nice matte like soft look, so that when I go to put on my eyeshadow, I'm not gonna have like that awkward crease. Y'all know, and y'all ladies that wear makeup, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. After you've had your eyeshadow on for hours, sometimes it just naturally falls into the creases of your lid. I mean, it just naturally does that. But if you put on a good primer, that won't happen. So not only do I put a primer, I also put the setting powder on top, and it changes the game for me. So after doing that, I'm actually putting on my concealer right now, because the colors that I'm going to use, they are very vibrant. So since I'm using these vibrant colors, I want to go ahead and put on a nice layer of primer before I even go to put the colors on. And not primer, concealer. The concealer that I'm using is actually the LA Girl Pro Conceal. Now, all of these products that I'm using, I'll definitely leave all of it in the description box below. So, you know, if y'all like any of them, you could go ahead and check it out yourself. But basically, this palette that I'm using is a Morphe palette. It is, I can't remember the name of it right now off the top of my head, but it is a smaller palette that has, I think it only has like 9 colors in it, and they're very vibrant. So most of the colors that I'm using, they're all really going to come from this palette. Now, I started with the blue. And the blue shade that I'm using is on the very last row, the second to the left. Now, I took that shade and I put it on my inner lid, and then I took the purple shade from the palette and I put it on the other half of my outer lid. And I didn't blend it right away. I just made sure to I went over both the inside of my lid and the outside of my lid a couple times with the blue and the purple, so that the colors, I could really pack it on there and you could really get to see the vibrancy of the colors. So then after that, I actually took the orange color on that palette and I kind of did a little bit of a little halo effect above the purple. I started that with the orange, and then I also went above the orange and did it with the yellow. And like I said, this is all from the same Morphe palette. So now what I'm doing is I am just blending my little heart away. Blending, blending, blending. So now that I've got those colors on, I picked up the brush that I used the first time, the one from Target, and it's just a nice blending brush. And now I'm just going behind everything that I did and kind of just blending it all together. And honestly, y'all, what I've come to realize after doing makeup for so long is sometimes even if you don't use the right colors in a look that you're trying to go for, if you blend those colors out, baby, it looks so good. Sometimes the key to a good look is just the blending. Sometimes the colors don't even have to necessarily mesh well, but if you can blend it, your look is bound to come out popping. Okay, so I already basically took so in order to get that little swoop look I did, I took some concealer. So the same concealer I used before, the Pro Girl Pro Conceal, I took that and I just basically I took it and tried to go with the natural curve of my crease, but go a little bit higher than that. I definitely struggled with this part, and I got a little frustrated because I felt one side, my swoop was looking real popping, and then the other side it was like eh. So I got a little bit discouraged, but I was like, you know what, I started this look, I gotta commit and see it through to the end. So I didn't give up, and this is how far I got. Now once I got past my little swoops, I was like, you know what, let me just go ahead and finish this look. So I used that super light blue color in the palette, and I used that as my eyeliner. So after putting on the pink, I actually took my concealer and used my concealer as an eyeliner again, like right above like my top lash line. And I laid the concealer on there, and then I went behind that and packed in that blue. And then after I did that, I went ahead and threw my lashes on, and I also used a white eyeliner, and I used that on my waterline. So instead of doing like a traditional black liner or like a brown, I used the white one this time, which was also very different for me because I'd never done that before. But I can see why girls use white eyeliners for their waterline, because it really does kind of just opens up the eye a little bit better. So yes, I use a white liner, and then I use the same blue on my inner lower lid, and then the purple on my outer lower lid, and then I threw on some mascara on my lower lashes. And now I'm on to the face. So I always like to do my eyes first so I can get it out the way, and then I go ahead and do my face, because sometimes the eyeshadow that I'll use has like fallout, and if the fallout lands on my face before I go ahead and put my foundation on, then I can just go ahead and put my foundation on, and it'll basically cover or conceal any loose eyeshadow that might have fallen onto my face. So that's why I always go ahead and do my eyes first. Now, after finishing my eyes, I concealed my dark spots with the Maybelline concealer that I used. It was the color corrector, and I went ahead and I put that above. I put it underneath my eyes because I usually get like dark circles underneath my eyes, and then I also put it above my lip, because since I have eczema on the top of my lips, sometimes it could look like a little stash, and that's not cute when you're trying to wear makeup, honey. So I went ahead and color corrected that, and then I put a little bit of concealer over my stash as well. And then after I blended that out, I used the Covergirl Outlast foundation, and I just put that all over. Now I noticed that girls prefer to use either like a brush to put on their foundation, or most girls usually like to use a brush, but I actually prefer to use a blending sponge, because I feel like it just blends out the foundation so much better than a brush does. So I went ahead and did that with my blending brush, and now I am contouring my face with the Anastasia contour palette. Now I use I think it's the middle brown shade. I didn't use the darkest or the second to darkest. But yeah, so I'll take the contour color. In this case, it's the brown, and I'll just go around like the perimeter of my face, and usually do underneath my cheekbones and then around my forehead. Now, the purpose of contouring, for y'all ladies that don't know, is whenever you do foundation, if you just put on foundation and call it a day, if you have great enough skin to where you can go ahead and just put foundation on and call it a day, kudos to you, sis. I do not have skin like that, so whenever I put on my foundation, sometimes I still have to go on contour so that it gives it a little bit more definition. And I'm pretty sure you guys see like the difference between like when I just had the foundation on versus contouring, because now it gives a little bit more definition to my forehead and my cheekbones. Now, I'm already blessed with nice cheekbones because of my genetics, but after I contour my cheekbones, like, they be popping. Okay, so now I'm actually using the same baking powder that I used on my lids at first, the black Radiance, and I'm doing my baking now. Like, so for this look, I didn't want to bake a lot or just use a lot of baking powder, period, because I feel like when I do that, I get flashback. And for any of my ladies that wear makeup out there, y'all know exactly what flashback is. It is not cute, especially if you plan on being behind a camera or taking pictures or recording videos or anything like such. So I went ahead and put that on. And a little tip that I learned from a makeup artist was to, and for this case, I'm using the L'Oreal Infallible press powder. So before I go ahead and brush off my baking powder, I'll dip my brush into some pressed powder, and then I'll use that to brush away the baking powder that I use. And I noticed that that really helps with the flashback, because it kind of just gives you like a little color protective layer on top of your baking powder, so that, you know, when you do go to take those pictures, you don't have that crazy white flashback. Now for the lip color, I actually decided to use the NYX lip liner, and then I went behind that, and I think the actual lip color that I used was from the beauty supply store. But it was also a brown shade. Now after doing my lips and highlighting, I like to go ahead and spray on the Milani Make It Last. This is a primer and a setting spray, so I get it on there real good, and then I hit the whoa, you know what I'm saying. And your girl is done. Your girl is ready. This is the final look. I do have to say, I am pleasantly surprised with the way that this came out, because like I said, I have never used these kind of colors before, and my hair was not fully braided in the middle, so don't judge me, judge yourself. Yeah, y'all, so this is the final look. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If so, go ahead and like it, leave some love underneath, you know, leave me a little comment or two, and subscribe to see more. Love y'all. Bye.